Hello and welcome back to another episode of a football chat show. I'm once again joined by Jamie. Jamie, how are we doing?
Top dollar, mate. Got through a tough week at uni, so it's good to still be alive, I guess.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm excited to talk some football. Take away from the anguish of illustration.
Yes.
Which sounds like
yes.
the most like first world problem I've ever said in my life, but
yes,
I mean.
yes. It was. I think you could say it was a very interesting week of Premier League football this week, couldn't you? Some results we didn't expect, some results maybe we did expect. We will have a look at that in a bit. We did say last week that we predicted the Champions League, right? Yeah, I always forget that we do the Champions League, and we obviously spoke about that last week, didn't we?
Yeah, we predicted that right. That was nice.
So we're having a little bit of luck this week.
We didn't predict too much this week. There was a little bit of back and forth on Twitter if you follow the Twitter account. Because I predicted that Chelsea wouldn't beat Burnley. And
you did predict that you'd lose to City by a two goal margin.
Yeah. And I don't know who the admin for Football Chat Show on Twitter is, but he's a right arse. He was having a right go at me.
No, the thing is, I just didn't believe. I didn't write it down this week. I don't think. Did I? Or did you? I
did.
Remember.
I put it on the. I was like, doc.
I was like, I don't believe you. I was like, I do not believe you. No, but fair enough. I think we'll start where it's logical to start, isn't it? Well, actually, let's start there. Manchester United versus Manchester City.
Yes.
The Manchester derby. We said about 2 weeks ago now, it's a big period coming up for Ollie. You need some results against Tottenham, Atlanta, and City, and you only got a result out of one of them. Well, the Atlanta result is a result, but it's not necessarily what you call positive.
No.
But this was not good.
No.
I'd like to know on what scale of not good you put it. If you put it at the worst end or like it just wasn't good, where do you put it?
Well, the problem is, right, so you look at 2-0 and you're like, well, it could have been worse. But then you look at that and you're like, well, City were at like 20% the whole game. Like it didn't turn it up, isn't it? Like, yeah, it just played a training game and beat us 2-0.
Pretty much. I think I saw a tweet that was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe Sky have started showing live training sessions." I was like, "That's a good one." It's frustrating because it doesn't leave us much to talk about. Because the thing is, the first goal goes in, and then the
game's over because we were playing 5 at the back, so we were just like, "Don't concede."
There was a couple of chance. Yeah, it basically threw your game plan out within the first half an hour, first 7 minutes, didn't it? It was like, what was the point? I mean, the only other noteworthy thing I can really remember from Manchester United was Ronaldo volley, which was a very, very good volley. Proved he still had it. And then, I mean, the defending for the second goal was just all over the place. Pardon me. Maguire, Shaw. It's just, what's happened to them? Are they still on a Euros hangover?
I don't know, mate. They're just all over the shop. I mean, it happens to players. I mean, there was a lot.
It does, yeah.
That happened to Beckham, notably, but I mean, a lot of like United journalists were talking during the Euros. They're like, yeah, it's great, they're playing so well, but let's just hope it doesn't affect them when they come back. And I was like, how? Nah, no chance, mate. They carry it straight back on. They just haven't at all.
I don't know if it's testament to Southgate's coaching, if it's testament to Ollie's coaching, what it is. I genuinely could tell you, because it did seem in the Euros a lot of England defenders seem to paint themselves in very good light. So perhaps it is a testament to that from Southgate, and it's perhaps where a lack of coaching from Ollie. But yeah, I mean, you just didn't turn it on, did you? It was complete domination from Man City from basically after the first own goal went in. They didn't even break out of second gear, let alone third.
Yeah.
It's frustrating because that is about what we can say on it. I do want to preface it with, City did have the chance to go and like they could have smacked you, and I think Pep said he said in his conference at the end of the game, he said I knew the game was over. I didn't do anything else because I knew we were winning once it went to 2-0, and it's damning of Manchester United, I'd say.
Well, it's not good, is it?
No.
But he's sticking about, apparently.
It looks like he is.
Well, there's a lot of good. stuff thrown out. I mean, a lot of it would be the club just briefing the bigger journalists, and that you can take it with a pinch of salt sometimes, but it does look like he'll be sticking around for Watford, which is a difficult game.
If he sticks around
anyway.
for Watford, he's there for quite a significant amount of time, I think, because he's not going to
because
get sacked before.
No, if you lose to Watford, you're gone.
Yeah, if you do.
No.
Wouldn't it beg the question, why not do it now when the manager?
I don't fucking know. I'm not Joel Glazer. I don't have money coming out my arsehole. The thing is, I've said this a lot. We're not run as a football club. We're not a football club. We're a business that plays football.
Yeah.
And as much as the football is what drives the business, because without being in the Champions League and without that's it. It's just being in the Champions League. You don't get that money. And you will sell more shirts if you play well and that kind of thing. But that's marginalized. But I mean, at the end of the day, the Joel Glazer doesn't care if we play shit, because at the end of the day, he sees a bottom line, and that bottom line would have been affected by COVID anyway. So he's not going to see a massive downshoot just because Ollie's bad at his job.
No.
And if the board stick behind him, which they are pretty much, I did see a Football Insider's tweet earlier that there's been a bit of a shift in the board, so that means Watford is now the game to look at. But it seems like every week I'm going, if he loses to Watford, then he's going to be sacked.
As you said, you can't lose to Watford though. Like, it's like, that's cardinal sin if you lose. If you lose that game.
But the cardinal sins don't matter anymore, because we lost 5-0 to Liverpool and 2-0 to City within 2 weeks.
Yeah,
so
I guess, yeah.
Bad results don't exist anymore. It's just results.
It's just a result slightly better than the one before.
Exactly. It's just numbers. I think, and Mark Goldbridge has tweeted a lot about it. The reason that we haven't sacked him is because we can't get anybody else in. We don't want anybody else.
Yeah, pretty much.
Everybody we want is in a job.
Eddie Howe's just gone, mate. Nightmare.
Eddie Howe's just gone.
Dean Smith and Steve Bruce are about, so there you go.
Oh wow, great. Oh, get Steve Bruce in. He's got the United DNA. But yeah, so it's Poch. It's Ten Hag.
Or Zidane.
No, not Zidane. And Ralph Rangnick, who are all in jobs. I mean, to be fair, Ralph Rangnick's not a manager. He's something to do at Lotus of Moscow or something like that.
Oh, is he? Lokomotiv?
Yeah. But the thing that I think the reason they haven't brought him in is because he demands like full control. He's like, I want to be able to like be director of football and manager, and our club will never let that happen, because you can't let someone that knows football that close to money, because that's dangerous. And it's dangerous
we've had this chat about Ollie over and over again, and I don't think we're any close to having a resolution from our end, from United's end, from anyone's end really. I mean, he's let the players all go on holiday, and apparently they're all a bit baffled with that. Who knows? It might be a master stroke. He might come back.
Yeah, I got well excited at the weekend, because we sent Van Hal on holiday when we sacked him. So I was like, "Fuck, we're getting rid of him. He's going. We're sending him back to Norway." But no,
no. Well, that about wraps it up. Manchester City come away 2-0 winners from Manchester Derby, move within a couple of points of Chelsea, who dropped points this weekend. Chelsea drew 1-1 at home with Burnley at Stamford Bridge, which is at home. A result I don't think we saw coming.
I did.
Well, we did.
I did.
To be fair, I'm because I said Chelsea would only win 1-0. So swings and roundabouts. But it was a classic case of the five back blues, really, wasn't it? What was the point in playing 5 defenders against Burnley? Because they had a lot of chances. I don't know if you've seen any of this game.
No, but then again, their defenders score all the time. So
yeah, they had all the ball, created a lot of chances, but because they didn't have any clinical finishers on the pitch, they struggled to put the ball in the back of the net, and they were punished by a Burnley team that everyone knows that's exactly what Burnley do. They hang in there, don't they? They don't mind conceding a goal because they know they can nick one.
Yeah.
And that's what happened, and that's about it again. Sorry, I just killed a fly. That's about it again. Burnley hung on 1-1 draw at Stamford Bridge. And yeah, Have you got anything to say on this? I think it could be the start of a little domino effect for Chelsea. If Lukaku and Werner come back and don't hit the ground running, they could be in a bit of trouble.
I don't know. I think Tuchel's too much of a good manager to let that really affect him too much. So I'm not too worried about it. Well, obviously, I'm not worried because it's Chelsea.
I was going to say, I think
what
worried is the word. Yeah, I know what you mean.
I don't care, but I don't think it will be a big problem for them.
Yeah, it's fair enough. It's fair enough. It takes us on to the last result of the weekend that really matters, and that was West Ham United 3, Liverpool 2. And I'm safe to say this is definitely a result neither of us saw coming.
No.
We both predicted West Ham losses. Liverpool convincingly winning it. We both had.
Yes.
Bit of a weird game. Because you said you quite. I don't know. I quite enjoyed it. Well, that's probably because Liverpool lost.
Yeah, I do.
If we're saying like, what did you actually think of the game as a neutral watching it? Because I have my opinions as a Liverpool fan.
Look,
and I want to know your opinions.
I don't think that for a game to be good, it has to be like, liquid football the whole entire time. I don't mind watching a scrappy game that's like, pinging around. I mean, at one point in that game, literally, you'd run to one box and then run to the other box and just keep going for about 15 minutes.
So that is true after we scored in the first half, but the first 45 minutes it just felt like Liverpool 4 or 5 years ago before we hit this like point where we could break teams like West Ham down continuously. We've done it last season at the London Stadium. We beat them at Anfield last season. We did the double, and we didn't find it easy, but we didn't struggle to break them down in that sense.
Even we beat West Ham at the London Stadium. All it took was David De Gea, but I mean...
Well, anyway, but this year...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you did. Yeah, of course you did. Anyway, it just felt very odd. I mean, the first goal we conceded was not good, straight from a corner.
No.
Alisson doesn't cover himself in glory, but I think there's definitely a shout. If it's against your team, you're always going to want it, is what I'll say. It's one of them ones that you look at it over and over again and you just kind of go, just give it, please. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was just one of them ones.
Maybe last season, not this season though.
And then I think Cresswell's very lucky to stay on the pitch.
Yes, he was.
I don't know if that would have had a massive influence on the game because I think West Ham would have just done more of the same in terms of sit tight and soak up the pressure and then try and hit us on the counter, and it would have almost
but he's really important for that transition. So if he'd have been off, then you never know.
Yeah.
Well, you can't predict what would have happened because
no, exactly. I mean, Trent scores a very nice free kick actually, which is a very decent finish. And then West Ham did exactly what they wanted to do the whole game for about 10 minutes the second half and came away with 2 goals. Alisson, again, at fault for definitely the second and probably the third. I mean, the zonal marking system we employ, ball to the back post, Zuma just nods it through his hands. It's to be fair. So they said, Mikel Antonio said in the press conference, in the thing, he said, we know that if you keep the ball away from Virgil at all times, including set pieces, you're going to be all right. And they did that because they basically went, where does he stand? We'll put the ball where he doesn't stand. And that happens to be over the keeper's head, which is fair enough. But I mean, Cresswell and Bowen have got beautiful delivery on them. They're so lethal from those set pieces. I mean, it helps when you've got Zuma, Antonio. I mean, Ogbonna's just had
Craig Dawson
in that game. Craig Dawson, Diop. When you've got people like them, Declan Rice, when you've got people like them coming in on the ball, it's going to help. Do you know what I mean?
Salad.
Yeah. There we go. And especially when you can get the quality of delivery all the time. The third goal is one of them ones that once they got the second, you thought that the third was coming. The second felt a little bit against the runner play. It did feel like we were dominating it. It felt like their chances were half chances, whereas it felt like ours were more like carefully worked. I mean, Mane had a really good volley stopped by Fabianski, and Yotta's kind of hit and miss in games like this where it's like tight.
It was a really good volley in that he caught it, but it was straight.
Yeah, he should have. If he put it anywhere else, it would have probably gone in. But in terms of like, it was the best chance out of our lot. Do you know? What I mean?
Yeah, right. I get you.
But yeah, I mean, apart from that, there's not much. Liverpool just weren't very good. We just really struggled to gather ourselves from that setback early on. I mean, I was flipping and flopping between we've been good and we've not been after we scored the free kick, because it was like we didn't create much, even though we had all the ball. It was like the stats were like, Jamie Carragher was like, Liverpool have had all the balls, they're playing really well. It was like, but we don't get that ball in areas that's going to affect West Ham, because you need to get the ball in the box and try and create a foul or draw a foul on the edge of the box and get the ball in the box. Do you know what I mean? We didn't. I think I saw a lot of tweets saying it, and it was very true. It's not often you get that group of 11 players that far off it for a whole 90 minutes. A lot of the time you maybe have 2 or 3 or 1 or 2 that drop off it, but you don't have all 11, because I don't think anyone could come away from the game and say they put their best performance in, apart from Van Dijk, because he kept us in that game for about 20 minutes when that ball was going back and forth, didn't he?
I was about to sneeze, but I didn't. I kept it. No, I kept it.
There we go. There we go. Did you see the bit in the first half when Antonio's running through on goal and Trent's like trying to catch him, and Van Dijk's like not running towards him?
Yeah.
I was like, Virgil, what are you doing? Like, if this goes in, you're going to look really stupid. And then Antonio left it, and I was like, he's using his mind tricks again. He's doing it. He's the witch, Virgil is. But yeah, I mean, I there's not much to write home about. Liverpool weren't good, but credit to West Ham. David Moyes got playing really well. I saw a tweet, and I'm guessing you've seen it. If David Moyes hadn't managed Manchester United, everyone would be saying he should manage Manchester United.
Yeah.
And look, West Ham, credit to them. They're dealing with this Thursday, Sunday football really well. Declan Rice is surprising everyone, I think, because it's just very, very consistent. And then they've got those 2 really nice wingers in Fornals and Bowen, with Ben Rama sitting in between them, and Antonio up front. And they look like a proper outfit. They're definitely going to be challenging for Europe, whether it's Europa League or Champions League. And I mean, there's no reason they can't challenge for the Champions League. But I've said it to a few people over the last few days. Do they prioritise winning the Europa League to get Champions League, or do they prioritise the league to get Champions League? Does that make sense?
It depends who drops out the Champions League.
Yeah, and I always said this. I said this to someone earlier. There's always 8 or 10 teams in the Europa League that you go, they're like decent teams. You know what I mean? Like, stay away from them and you'll do all right. And it's do West Ham gamble on staying far enough away from a Napoli or someone else till the quarterfinal, semi-final, beat them over 2 legs when they're not surprised.
I guess, but you've got to be careful of like a Barca or that type of team just dropping out, because
I think Barca probably end up being all right now.
I was just
I know what you mean. Dortmund might end up struggling. Teams like that could end up struggling and get dropped. I mean, Atletico Madrid look like they could struggle at the moment, so that would be the real test, wouldn't it? But yeah, it's whether they gamble on that, because do you put your eggs in the Champions League in the league or whatnot? You see it with so many teams, don't you? They go, we'll win the Europa League, that's our best chance of it, and then they end up failing in the league and failing in the Europa League, and it just doesn't work out for either way. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one for West Ham. I mean, credit to them. I don't think either of us expected this at this point in the season, because we're about the point in the season where you can kind of tell where everything's headed. And I don't think I expected West Ham to be here at this point. So big credit to them. And the last bit of news from the weekend the week on Monday, Eddie Howe was confirmed as the new Newcastle boss. It feels very Nuno to Tottenham. Everyone else has gone, nah, don't really fancy it, mate, or they can't afford them, or etc. etc. And they've gone, Eddie Howe, we'll go with you as a safe bet. What do you think?
I don't think it's a bad idea. I think it's always a good idea to get a manager that's had some time to pick what he wants to do next. I'm sure there's a lot of jobs that Eddie Howe could have taken in the meantime, and he's waited for what I think for a manager that is as young as him, right? And the way that he played with Bournemouth for that 5 seasons, he kept them up. The last season we'll ignore because they were awful. But in those 5 seasons where he was in the Premier League, played some decent football for the level of the club. And he is still really young as a manager. So he has that opportunity to kind of take Newcastle by the scruff of the neck and be like, right, I'm going to be the person that brings you forward, because they'll have tons of money. As long as he stays in the league is the only. But
I will preface what I said with, I think it is actually a good appointment. I don't actually think Eddie Howe is a bad appointment. young, as you said, he did really well. Bournemouth brought them up from League Two all the way to the Championship, so to the Premier League. So he knows how to win leagues, keep teams up, get battle for.
Yeah, I think
in these
that's what's
scenarios.
important. Because if you brought in like a Fonseca that they were talking to at the beginning, who has historically played, your attacking style football, but with a aroma. I said that like aroma, like the scent, but I meant Roma as in the club, who are never going to be at risk of relegation. So he's never really been in that space before. You risk him just completely capitulating with the players that he's got. So I think getting a manager in that's been in that kind of space before makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, for sure. And the only thing is I think he's a really good manager. I didn't follow Bournemouth like. I wouldn't be able to tell you the style of play he plays, but when they're on the ball, they do play nicely. They played us a few times and caught us out a few times. I think they've caught I was going to say, I think they've caught every big team out a few times. And he's got a lot of that personnel at Newcastle with him. Well, not a lot. He's got two of his main culprits in Ryan Fraser and Callum Wilson. So they're going to know how he wants to play. There's rumours of Ake potentially joining in, which wouldn't, on loan, you can definitely see, can't you? Need some game time. He likes Eddie Howe. He'll play every week. As you mentioned a few weeks ago, Sule from Bayern Munich is big rumours at the moment. I'm sure they'll land a few targets in January, and I'm
actually really excited to see what they do.
Yeah, I do think they'll stay up now that they've got Eddie Howe. As you said, I think under another manager of Francesca, I don't think Conte was ever really going to be reconsidered, was he? But under a Francesca and Unai Emery, I think they could have struggled, but I think Eddie Howe's probably the perfect man for the next 2-3 years, as long as they stay up. If he goes down, I think there might be a clause in his contract that he's sacked immediately, I think.
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
It'll be interesting to see definitely in January what happens. And on that, other managerial news is it looks like Gerrard to Villa is very close. I think by the time this goes out, it might be done. And we're going to wait to see that next week. And we'll talk about it next week. Because it will be an interesting appointment for the Premier League and for Villa. And Farke went as well. And I don't actually know who's favourite to that Norwich job. I think it might be Lampard.
Yeah, they talked to Lampard.
I think that would be a good appointment. I think that would. They're going down.
Yeah, I was going to say they're going to go down. Let's see if Lampard can get promoted on the second time of asking. I suppose. Potentially,
or you ask someone to come in, go. We know that they're not going to stay up. Play some nice football, make the fans like you, and then
they'll come straight back up. So
I don't know. There's a lot of good teams in the Championship these days because there's a few decent ones who won't come up this year, and they'll be challenging next year. I think Norwich going down next year.
I think Norwich and Fulham both sit in that bracket of too good for the Championship and too bad for the Premier League. So
definitely, and I think probably Bournemouth do as well because they're top of the league right now. So it'll be interesting to see what happens if they come up. But that's enough for the week. We've got a special episode this week. Well, it's special. The Ballon d'Or is just around the corner, so we've racked our brains. That's the phrase I'm looking for. We've racked our brains and picked what we personally, myself, and what Jamie personally believes is the top 5 players in each position in the world. We're going to go for goalkeepers, defenders, midfielders, and attackers. It's going to ruffle some feathers. I'm sure it is. I think there's going to be a little bit of bias in there.
Maybe.
You were about to say something. What were you going to say?
I was going to, because you mentioned the Ballon d'Or, and none of the players I've picked will win the Ballon d'Or, I should add, because none of them are Messi. But
this is interesting. If you're not putting Messi in the top 5 players in the world.
Absolutely fucking not, mate. Are you drunk? He hasn't scored a goal in the league, and he's playing in France, mate.
Yeah, but we're going from last year.
Oh, I've done right now. So, in which case, mine's completely wrong. But
when you say
it's all right.
Now,
no, I can go off the fly. That's fine.
Yeah, I was gonna say surely
mine doesn't change. Mine doesn't change that much because
I was kind of going. Let's go based off the last 12 months and go kind of like.
All right, mine's kind of
this
more
season
this season, but
mine can probably.
We'll see how different they are.
As well.
I'm sure they won't be that different.
Mine can't be this season. If you want, we can take a pause and we can decide which way to go. Should we take a quick pause?
Yeah,
they won't ever know. Apologies about that. We are back now. We are going for the players most informed this season. So we'll kind of include the hangover of the Euros into the start of the season, into the start of the Champions League, up until about now. So basically on form, who are the top 5 players in each position in the world that we believe. We'll start with our goalkeeper list. I think we've done the same one. We discussed this. We've done the same one. We're going to go for, so in the 5th goalkeeper, we'll probably not discuss the keepers too much, because as we said, like, they kind of just, it's because they're good at saving the ball. I think we went Alisson. I managed to worm him in there because I think he's been pretty solid for Liverpool. Donnarumma, obviously imperious in the Euros for Italy, and really, really good when he plays for PSG. We went for Ramsdale. He's been outstanding for Arsenal. His range of passing is absolutely brilliant. His shot stopping is equally as good, if not better. He just needs to carry on going for as long as he can, and he'll be right up there for an England number 1 call. I think he should be in this international break, to be honest with you. Then we went for Mendy. De Gea. Been outstanding for, there's our top 2, De Gea and Mendy. Both have been outstanding for club. Mendy unfortunately doesn't, De Gea doesn't get the recognition on international stage anymore,
which is mental.
Mendy definitely doesn't. But they've both been, Mendy's just an outrageous goalkeeper. And so is De Gea, to be honest. Some of the saves De Gea makes. That one off Lindelof in the derby was amazing. That sounds crazy to say it like that, but the reaction for it, and then the one of Jesus as well, was just, it was outstanding. But yeah, there's our goalkeepers.
Not much more to say about them, really.
I think other
than Alisson and De Gea have both recently made errors that led to goals, but it happens.
You can't define them on one game, really, can you? Because I think Alisson's been kind of the reason we've won a couple of games this season, and definitely the reason we've not lost more than we have, is what I'd say.
Exactly the same for De Gea for us.
So there we go. That's the best we can give them. And Ederson doesn't make it, but it's because Ederson doesn't have to do much most of the time. So you can't really complain about him. We're on to the defenders now. We'll count down together.
Are we going reverse order? I guess.
Yeah, we'll go for reverse order. Number 5. Okay. Who have you got in at number 5?
Rafa Varane.
Oh, see, I've taken him out. Now we're doing this season, but I've had him in.
I
overall
had to put him in, not because United are any good, because they're not, but whenever he plays, we're all right, kind of. And he's just so good, man.
Yeah, he is.
He's the sort of player you don't appreciate, because you see him playing the Champions League, and actually against City last season for Madrid, he was actually trash. But then it comes to your club,
2 seasons ago, wasn't it? Or was it in the? Yeah, it was straight after the lockdown.
Oh, of course,
because he was pretty. I think that was just a bit of hangover from lockdown and stuff like that.
Yeah, then he starts to play for your club, and you're like, "Fuck me, this is what a world-class centre back looks like." Missing this, but that's how he gets into mine.
If it was kind of like 12 months, the last 12 months, and looking at kind of what we think players are overall, I'd have definitely had him in it. But I've gone in number 5 for Marquinhos.
Okay.
I really rate him. I hate playing him. Like, Liverpool played PSG a few times recently, and it winds me up so much, because he celebrates everything like he scored a goal. But he is so good. Like, he's just everywhere. He's really quick. He's underratedly quick. Really good on the ball. Really good in the air. The only thing that holds him back, I think, is the fact that he's got a really hot head on him. And he's definitely he's about 2 challenges away from a red card at all times, which is a shame. But yeah, he's 5th in my list. And yeah, PSG, they're top of the league, and they'll probably continue to be top of the league for as long as he plays regularly at centre back. So he does have an injury.
Play at CDM as well.
Injury prone. Yeah, he playing that holding midfield position. He does have a bit of an injury record, doesn't he? Which holds him back again a bit. We're going to go on to our 4th best fullback or defender in the world. Who have you gone for?
Alphonso Davies.
I had him in my overall again. But I've taken him out. I've taken him out based on this season.
See, ironically, if we were doing it overall, he wouldn't have gone into mine.
Do you not think?
Because he was he was injured last year and didn't really get into it as much. But he started this year with so many assists. Well, not so many. He's got more assists than he had at this point last season. He's playing more like he was in that Champions League spell, where he was just absolutely unplayable, especially against Barcelona. But also in the league. But I think
Yeah.
he slots nicely. I don't watch him that much, so I can't talk about the
I was gonna
complexities
say,
of his game. But yeah, it happens. I just think he's a really, really solid player, and he's
my
funny.
next
So
four probably come with a lot of bias.
okay,
They're not
right,
all Liverpool, but they're all Premier League because I watch them
right,
so much. So in fourth, I've gone for Reece James.
okay.
Really, really in form, like really in form. Banging assists, banging goals. I just checked the goals and assists for this season for the Premier League because I was like, surely I'm
I'm
forgetting a
so
Premier Player that's
interested
playing
to
really
see who
well.
you've got number one. Oh my god. Okay, right, yeah.
I'll surprise you with my number one. But Reece James, he's got loads of assists and he's chipped in with a few goals. Again, he's missed a few games, injuries. He had a red card. So unfortunately, I can't put him right out there. And there's a few things that hold him back in his game. I think right now his crossing and like his delivery into the box is looking really good. I just don't think he has the range of passing that the two other people I have on here. I think one of them's given away with that then. But he doesn't have the range of passing that two of the other people I have on here do, which holds him back slightly. And he's got a good range of passing, but I don't think it's as good as two of the ones I've got on here.
Very fair.
Which leads us nicely onto our third one, and I'm going to go straight in with my third one, and I've got Van Dijk there.
So have I.
Because there we go. That's quite nice. He's come in and he's kind of like picked up where he left off. Do you know what I mean? Really, just imperious, isn't he? Like he's just a scary player to come up against. If it wasn't,
well, he's the highest centre back on my list because he is in a class of his own, really, as a centre back.
If he didn't play at the weekend, we'd have conceded 4 or 5 because Alisson wasn't on it, although he's in our top 5. But Van Dijk, there was that tackle. Did you see it when in the first half? I think it was. Yeah, and he comes in and he just. I don't know how he's done it, but if he misses it, it's a red card. And no, it's in the second half, but it's just sublime. He's so good. His range of passing again. He wasn't one of the people I was mentioning, but his range of passing sets up.
He wasn't
for us. No. He sets up some amazing attacks for us. For this range.
I've surmised that your first one must be Victor Lindelof.
So there we go. Anything else to say on Van Dijk?
No, he's an absolute powerhouse of a man.
There we go. I'll go with my second one.
Okay.
I've gone for Trent.
Okay.
I watch Liverpool all the time. I watch them whenever they're on TV. And I do watch some of the dodgy stuff. And Trent got a lot of criticism last season for really not being on it. And really kind of underperforming to what we hold him to the standard we hold him to. But I think he's been Trent before that criticism and better this season. His range of passing is just sublime. Some of the assists he picks up, and he just transforms a game from right back, because there's games, again, I said that we should have maybe not picked up the 3 points that we have picked up the 3 points in this season because of him. Against Burnley, he set up a pass from basically playing attacking midfield. I don't know if you remember it. Van Dijk pings it to Elliott. Elliott brings it down, and Trent's in that attacking midfield position. And he's just, it's crazy that he plays for my football club. He's just so good.
You know my opinions on Trent. Honestly, he will retire as the best ever right back. I think. I think at the moment it's Dani Alves. He won't win as much as Dani Alves did, but
I think that's because of the way football's gone since Alves played.
Yeah.
And do you know what? I don't know if you agree with this, but I think defensively he's not as bad as people make him out to be. This season,
he doesn't have to do it that much. He doesn't have to do it that much, so it doesn't matter.
And unfortunately for him, people think that, so they go, let's target it. Do you know what I mean? So you'll always notice, like, he used to get ripped apart by Sane coming off that left, but Sane often played off right or left, kind of depending, but you could guarantee if Sane was fit, he's playing off the left. Zaha's had similar, like, joy against him in the past. Rashford's had similar joy against him. But it's just because they going down the left today, boys. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you're getting attacked 15 times a game, 2 or 3 of the times, you're going to get turned. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, anyway, that's who I've got in 2. Who have you got in 2?
Reece James.
Oh, there we go.
Slots in a second on mine, because everything you said is just banging goals in the moment, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's Chelsea's top goal scorer.
Quite natural doing it.
Yeah.
It's worrying for Chelsea though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Someone that's not your striker says he's top goal scorer. But no, carry on.
No, I just think I mean, it depends what. I struggle with Gareth Southgate and English right backs because truly it should be Trent that starts every game.
Not
Unless maybe you're playing
necessarily.
against a team that will attack you more than will attack them. Then maybe you
Yes.
play your Walkers or whatever. But Trent and James fall into that kind of, attacking fullback kind of role. But Reece James can also play as a centre back, which is kind of strange.
Yeah, on the back of a right three, I don't think he could play in a two.
Yeah, no, definitely not. The same way that Luke Shaw can play on the left.
Yeah.
But I just think he's been immense this season so far. So
Yeah, he's been really good.
that's why he
I
falls
think
into second.
what I'd say is if we made this list 5 or 6 years ago, I don't think either of them would be on the list, even if they were scoring goals, because it wasn't how fullbacks played 5 or 6 years ago, but it's how they play now. And it's what I think Klopp, Tuchel, and Pep especially need to be praised for a lot, is kind of changing football for that in that way. Do you know what I mean? They've really brought in their fullbacks and gone, we've got 11 players, let's use 11 players to win the game. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm interested to see who your number one is now.
Well, I don't know who well, mine's obviously Trent, but I don't know who.
Oh, yours is Trent. I went for João Cancelo.
Mad. Fair. He doesn't even make mine.
It was tight between Cancelo and
No,
Trent.
That makes sense. Actually, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Because Cancelo's good on the right and the left, and he's done it this season on the right and the left. So you can't complain. He picks up assists. And I think so the Trent and James are known for like the deeper crosses, bringing the ball in. Whereas I think Cancelo's good at that, but he's also really good at getting to the byline. He's probably better than the two of them at taking people on. I don't think he's necessarily got the range of passing that Trent has, but I think he's probably got a better range of passing than Reece James, just because he plays for Pep and he's got more options for him. And I think he's been really, really good this season. It seems that if he plays well, City play well.
Yeah.
So
I couldn't argue with that at all. Because he'll do. Yeah, he's amazing. But I think Trent's better.
That's fair enough. I kind of went for Cancelo to cover my back because I went for Van Dijk and Trent.
That's fair.
So yeah, it moves us on to the midfielders. I'm
not sure about mine. I'm not gonna lie, but we'll go with it.
Go on, I'll kick it off.
All right.
And I'm going to kick it off with Nkunku from RB Leipzig.
Okay, this becomes interesting. Okay, good.
He's in your attackers.
Yes.
So I've got him in my midfielders because he plays that attacking midfield role, doesn't he? He usually has that Andre Silva ahead of him, and he's got two wingers next to him. So I kind of class him as a midfielder because he doesn't play solely. He's played 9 a few times, and I can't talk too much about him because I don't know a huge amount. But I've watched the Red Bull City game. I had it on.
Yeah. I've watched him in the Champions League.
He's really good in Bundesliga. Yeah, exactly. He's been really decent in Bundesliga. I see a lot of highlights of him on Twitter because he is like pretty decent. Really calm on the ball, really nice dribbler, good at picking a pass and scoring a goal as well. And he's been banging form this year, so he'll probably end up at a decent club next season, I reckon. I'm not sure, but I reckon. Who's your fifth midfielder?
Declan Rice.
Do you know what? I've not even got him. I've forgotten about him.
I had until you mentioned him earlier, and I was like, but yeah, I don't know who was in there. I think I put De Bruyne question mark, and then I got rid of him and put Declan Rice in.
Can I get rid of someone now and put Declan Rice in instead of them?
Do it, yeah.
I'm doing it.
That's kind of what I was thinking because I was like, shit, João Cancelo's been amazing. Anyway,
okay.
Yeah, Declan Rice, because
I'm going to annoy you if I did it as well.
Well, you're probably taking Bruno out. That's fine. Declan Rice, for all the reasons you explained when you were talking about him against Liverpool. He's risen to the level that he should be at. And if he can continue that, he's 22, man. If he can continue that for the next 6-7 years, then he's going to be.
He is my number 4 position. So I can talk about him at the same time and it doesn't overlap. What I've underestimated about him is how much he can run.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Like, do you remember in the Euros final? It's like 60 minutes through and he's like running through everyone. He's like, where is everyone? Someone help me out. Do you know what I mean? He did that against Liverpool as well. He just picked the ball up and was like, right, I'm going. Do you know what I mean? And we've not got leggy people in our midfield. We had Ox, Fabinho and Henderson. And Fabinho and Henderson are quick, like for midfielders, quick, cover a lot of ground, don't usually look tired, but they look like they were like chasing shadows against Rice.
Yeah.
I mean, he's proved everyone wrong. What a player. It's just whether he stays at West Ham. I think the question for him is.
I don't think he will, but
no.
Where does he go? Is the question.
It's United or Chelsea, isn't it? Maybe City, but I doubt we'll go City because Rodri's always there. And Pep, I wouldn't want to play for Pep because he changes around too much.
Yeah, true. You never know if you've got a game or not, do you?
No, exactly. Your number 4.
Barella.
Nico Barella
Yeah.
from Inter Milan.
Yeah, this is one of those ones that comes off the Euros a bit. But he's also, I mean, he's a mainstay in that Milan team who are also doing all right in the league.
Did you see the report that apparently he's going to sign a new contract and become the captain next season?
Yeah, which is fair enough. Yeah, I mean, he's still quite young. I think he's like 24.
Yeah,
maybe 23 even. But yeah, I mean, in that Euros in particular, you don't always get a midfielder that can do both that number 8 role and the number 6 role and have it in, both sides. And do you know what? Before he'd come to United, I said Donny van de Beek was like that kind of player. And he's that kind of player. Yeah. He can really dribble and he can really like cut passes out and like place balls everywhere. He's just such an all-round midfielder. I love it.
He can almost play 10 as well.
Yeah.
If you needed him to, but he's really industrial, which is like one of the people I've got on my midfield as well. But yeah, he's really industrial in terms of like the way he picks the ball up and can like just shake people off. Do you know what I mean? And he's just really, really, really nice with it.
You already said yours was
2 and 3.
Becky.
Declan Rice. So number 3, I'll let you take the reins on this one.
I don't like this one. It's Phil Foden.
Yeah.
I hate Phil Foden. I despise of his soul and his being, but he's so good at football.
Yeah, he is, isn't he?
Is objectively, he's amazing.
It's
the way that he can play. I mean, if you imagine like a heat map of like where he can play on the pitch, I reckon he'd do you a job anywhere above 6, anywhere, even maybe 6.
I reckon he can play fullback quite nicely in this.
Yeah, so do
era. The only reason he's not good at centre back is because he's really little. You just get pushed. You just get bullied. Like imagine him against Antonio; it'd be game over.
Yeah, but, I mean, I don't know if he has any of that defensive awareness yet. Honestly, the thing is, if you played a pivot of Rice and him, oh man,
go back to 4-4-2. Him and Rice in the middle would be just
mate. It's over. It's over. But yeah, he's
just
really
think
good.
About this going forward for England. Yeah, Rice and Foden in the middle, Greenwood on the right, Smith Rowe or someone out here. Can't think of any strikers off the top of my head. Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
I lost you for a second. Then.
Yeah, I lost you as well there. I'm back. I said I can't think of any strikers for England.
Well, you could have Kane, but I guess Kane's a bit leggy, these days.
but imagine just Rice and Foden behind them. Beautiful. Greenwood on the right, someone else on the left. Oh, it's just lovely to think of, isn't it?
But yeah, he's amazing. He's absolutely amazing.
My number 3 is Bernardo Silva from Manchester City.
That's a good pick.
He mainly gets in for the fact that he dribbled past 7 of Liverpool players and squared it to Foden, and Foden messed it up. But I mean, he's one of those players I despise as well. Like, I really don't like Bernardo Silva, just for some reason. He's got a little ratty face on him, and I really don't like him. But he's really good at football as well. He's the perfect midfielder for Pep Guardiola. He'd be perfect for Jurgen Klopp. He'd be perfect for Tuchel. He'd be perfect for all the managers in the world because he works so hard. He's got a really good range of passing. He's really tricky on the ball. And he knows the system anywhere he plays in the system. Do you know what I mean? He knows what Pep needs of him on the right. If he plays on the right, he's fine. If he plays in the middle, he's fine. If he plays slightly deeper, he's fine. He could play at 9 and he'd be fine. City don't really play a 9. So it's why it's difficult to place Foden, because he either plays like deep centre mid, false 9, or left wing.
Front.
Do you know what I mean? Or he plays left wing, because if he plays up front, he plays false 9. So they switch like those 3 midfielders. They'll have De Bruyne, Bernardo, and Foden, and they really interchange throughout the game. But yeah, Bernardo is really, really nice footballer to watch as well. Like, he's really silky with the ball. But I really don't like him as well. So there you go. Who is your number 3? Oh,
that was my number 3. Bruno Fernandes. I'd say that quickly so people don't throw stuff at me. Because the reason that I've put him as 2 and not 3 is because United have been so bad, but he's still been good. Because I mean, he might be the epitome of the Man United moments system. Like he just turns up when you need him
when
to.
you need him.
And we've played awfully this season. He's still got 14 goals and assists in 16 games, which is fucking ridiculous.
That is crazy, yeah.
He's just an inevitable player. So I think he has to go in there because he's just a chance creation machine. And when you're in a league where De Bruyne and Trent are there, and Jack Grealish, who I hate as well, but
and
Foden, who all play in better teams, and have the ball so much more, how he still makes more chances then boggles my mind. So yeah, he sits there in second.
Yeah, so my thing with him is, well, the derby kind of taints it because there was a few images of him shouting when he's lost the ball. But I think he's a really good leader as well. I think he's kind of one of those people that you would, if you were on the fringes, if you were a Lingard, if you were a Donny van de Beek, you'd be like, I like Bruno. He's nice to me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he gets you playing for him. And I can't believe Maguire's captain of Manchester United to start with. Like, it's just ludicrous because there's 3 or 4 I can think of off the top of my head who are better leaders than him. One of them being Fernandes, one of them being Ronaldo, one of them being Pogba, and one of them being De Gea. I mean, a lot of people might think I'm crazy for saying those 4, but I think those 4, from what I've seen of them on the pitch, from what I've seen of them in dressing rooms, from what you've seen of them as even false managers in terms of Ronaldo in 2016, you know they're all really good leaders. Yeah, Harry Maguire's the captain. But this is about Bruno.
The Pep Guardiola effect has just made you say false manager there.
That is absolutely crazy. I might have to clip that. That might be our first as a clip because that is crazy. But no, my number 2 is Marco Verratti from PSG. So another Italian, very similar to Barella, actually. He can play that 6, he can play that 8, and he can play a little bit further forward if you need him to. But he kind of, when you watch PSG, he's kind of what makes them tick. He's definitely, if he's on it, they're playing well. Do you know what I mean? Sorry, my chair's like broken. I apologize about that. Wijnaldum's not hit the ground running, but he's definitely been a lot better recently. The last 2 games, I think he's assisted and scored at least in both of them. Not like
he did
simultaneously.
Score,
I think he got assist at the weekend as well, but I'm not sure. But yeah, Verratti is like a Wijnaldum on steroids in PSG, like really, really good, really silky. Again, similar to Marquinhos. He's just got a hot streak. You just don't need him to have that hot streak. But I think he's really good. He's not the quickest, but he always seems to either like be injured or be man of the match. Do you know what I mean? And it's like a weird conundrum with him. But yeah, he's really, really good. And it takes us on to number 1. So my number 1's been said.
Oh, okay.
But yours hasn't. So I'll go for me first.
Yep.
I went for Phil Foden.
That's
everything you said. He's just a sensational footballer, and it really hurts me to say it because I thought he was going to be like a flash in the pan, but he's very, very good at football. If you watch him, he does this thing where he like brings the ball down and he goes to he makes it, he's going to kick it, and then he just stops it dead, and it's like, oh, I wish I could do that. Like, that's really cool. Do you know what I mean? Like you'd be hoping like someone like is watching and you do it, and they'd be like, sorry, what? Do you know what I mean? Because that's what I do when he does it. He's so good. But yeah, who's your number 1?
I'm having such second thoughts about this.
I think I might know who it might be, but I'm not going to go.
So basic for me to say this though, because he might not have been that good this season, but he's just so good. I've put Kante in there as my number 1.
I don't even think he's played.
He's not. Oh yeah, this is why I because you've just come up with some like Bernardo Silva is like happily in there in top 2. So I'm what I might do, right, is I'm taking Kante out entirely, and I'm pushing. I can't put Bruno first. So yeah, I'll put Foden first with you because he's just a fucking annihilation of a man. Yeah. I'll put Bruno second still, and I'll put Bernardo Silva in instead of. I can't. Why have I done that?
I'm looking at Kante. He's only played 1 game in the Champions League, and he's only played 7 in the Premier League. And I think he's probably coming as a sub in a couple of them because I know he came.
Pogba's probably a better pick than him, and he's been woeful. Oh my god. Yeah. God, I put my head through a blender that one.
He's got, to be fair, no, put him back in. Number 1 goal from 100% shot accuracy. Like easy.
There you go.
Easy.
Wait, was that against Spurs? Yeah, it was.
Yeah, probably.
Anyway, yeah. So I'll I'll whack in Bernardo Silva instead and shuffle it
So
around. I think
the five went
Foden
for
takes
both
my.
of us. The five go Nkuku, Rice. This is me. Nkuku, Rice, Bernardo, Verratti, Foden. Yours go.
Rice, Barella, Bernardo Silva, Bruno, Foden.
There we go.
There we go.
Both very good lists. It's difficult, isn't it? Because you don't watch too much of these foreign teams. That sounds so weird when I said it like that. I felt really like EGL. I don't watch too much of these foreign teams apart from when it's in the Champions League.
I'll tell you this right now. This attacking list was the easiest one for me.
I've got a little bit of a curveball in there, so I'll be interested.
So have I, but you already said it. So.
Yeah, and I as soon as I said it, and as soon as I saw it, I went, I reckon that's Jamie's curveball when you said it earlier. But we'll go for 5. I'll go for 5. I'll kick it off. I've gone for Vinicius Junior from Real Madrid. I wonder if he's in yours.
Can I tell you? Yeah, he is. But
he is. I think he's one of them players that he got a lot of hype, didn't he? He felt a lot like that Abidi Pele guy. A lot of hype, like the next big thing. And I just didn't know if he was ever going to be it. He played us last year and he scored 2 goals, and one of them was really good. And he was really decent the whole game. I kind of thought, like, he's good, but does he put it in all the time? And he's turned it on this season. Do you know what I mean?
Oh man,
Real Madrid need the new lead man, and him and a certain other Frenchman has stepped up to the plate and been really, really good this season. So he's got to be in there.
I agree.
Who's your number 5?
Ronaldo.
Cristiano.
Yeah. I just think this season,
do you know what?
Without Ronaldo, we might have been relegated already. So
do you know what? I forgot the Champions League existed when I was thinking about attacking, and I didn't.
Yeah, he's
Ronaldo.
He's the only reason that we're in contention to not lose the group. So I just think he might not be there the whole game. Do you know what? The perfect case study for how Ronaldo plays at the moment is that Hungary game in the Euros. In that he was just not there, right, for 80 minutes, and then he scores a hat-trick.
literally.
So you have to keep him on the pitch, because at any moment in time he could just click, and it just happens. And I just think when you get him the ball, there's nobody else you'd rather have in that situation.
Yeah.
Even if it's like a 0.1 of a chance that it often just goes in. So yeah, I think that's how he sneaks in there for me.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I'll go for my number 4, which is going to be Robert Lewandowski.
Okay.
The Polish marksman. Very, very good player. The thing is, it's difficult to ever ignore him completely, because he always scores goals. And he never really ever got the recognition for it because it was the Bundesliga. But because he scored such a huge amount, a lot of the time, he gets in there. He's 4th because, again, he does play for Bayern, so he does get a little bit of like stat padding in that sense. You know what I mean? Yeah. Are you considering whether you should have put him in?
I kind of forgot he existed, but I have a reason I haven't, so it's fine. It's fine.
I'm not actually I'm not 100% on him being there, because it's just that you can't not put him in. Do you know what I mean? Because he does score so many goals. No, but for me, I can't ever.
No, I'm joking.
Do you know what I mean? If Suarez was still scoring the amount of goals that Lewandowski does, Suarez would be in there for me, but he just doesn't. Because Lewandowski will score if they played us in the Champions League, he would score even if they lost the game, whereas Suarez just didn't. So that's why Lewandowski's in there for me. Who's your number 4?
And Cuckoo.
There we go.
My curveball. He's just, the reason he's there and Lewandowski isn't is because it's just normal for Lewandowski now.
Yeah, that's so fair.
In terms of informedness, I think Nkuku gets in there, which, I mean, the thing, I can say that and then also put Ronaldo in there, who is like the most inevitable player ever. But anyway, Nkuku, just because his stats are nuts this season, and he has played
they're really good.
Kind of more as a 9 and like a 9.5, I'll go with.
So a false 9.
Yeah, we'll call it. But yeah, he has played up front, so I've put him there instead of midfield.
Yeah, it's completely fair enough. I mean, we spoke a lot about him earlier, didn't we? My number 3 will be Erling Haaland.
Ooh.
When he plays, he scores. Absolute robot of a man. it was a few years ago. It was Mbappe, wasn't it? He's the man.
Yeah.
And then it became Mbappe and Haaland for sure, because he's outrageously good. And now I think it's Mbappe, Haaland, and Foden. I know we've already spoken about Foden, but I think it is those three. I think Foden is in that class, and I think that he just doesn't get the recognition because he doesn't score outrageous amounts of goals like Mbappe and Haaland do, because the numbers that Haaland produces are just ridiculous. He's basically got one goal in a game since he joined Dortmund, and then he's got assists on top of that. Like, you put him in front of goal, it's going in. It's just crazy. It's just crazy good how good he is.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. I'm really sure jealous of the next club that gets him, I must say.
Yeah, so am I. I've always held out hope that we might go for one of them, but I just can't see it. We've just got rid of our sporting director, who would have been able to negotiate them for a packet of Maltesers, but now he's gone.
The only one that you could have gotten is Haaland, because I think to even consider Mbappe now, you either have to be Real Madrid. You either have to be Real Madrid or you have to have £400 million.
I'm holding out more hope on Haaland in terms of, like, I actually think he could play for Liverpool, but I would rather see Mbappe play for Liverpool. I think I love Mbappe. Ironically, he's not in my list, but I love Mbappe. Who is your number 3?
Vinny J.
Vinny J, the boy.
Yeah, because I mean, as you said, it's him and Benzema just dragging Real Madrid along at the moment.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that Real Sociedad were top of the league.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Saw that the other day. I was like, what?
We should have gone for a Yazabal then, shouldn't we?
Yeah. Januzaj, mate. We'll throw it back to 2014. But yeah, no, he's really lived up to the hype. He's turning into that, that Brazilian winger that they thought they were signing 3 years ago.
I'm going to say something that might sound mad, but I reckon if we asked our dads to do this, we'd have very different lists, and Vinicius Junior would literally not even make the top 100.
I don't think my dad knows who he is. So
yeah, I don't think my dad knows who he is, to be fair. So there you go. So, I think that's because he's like, he's going to be the new generation.
He's in Spain, probably.
No, to be fair,
I'm joking, mate.
I mean, it's easy to access that information. So if they wanted to, they could. I just think that he doesn't have the hype. He does have the hype. He doesn't have the consistency around him yet to be considered in this conversation of like a household name. Do you know what I mean? So
he's not a brand yet, is he?
He'll get there one day for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think that he'll ever break that Mbappe, Haaland, Foden thing. I think all three of the ones there just mentioned will win the Ballon d'Or at some point in their career.
That's a bold statement.
I think there's almost, it's almost hard to say two of them will. The only one that might not, I would say, would be Foden, because he won't get the goals that they want him to. But in terms of like actual football, he should do. I'm talking about Foden for too much for someone who really wants to punch me in the face. I can't ever meet him now because I will literally be like restrained by security. But no, there we go. Number 2 for you.
We're going to have the same top 2.
I think we're going to have the same.
I don't think
2 and 1.
I don't think there's any way that you can put in world football right now. I don't think there's any 2 better players than the top 2. And the reason that the number 1 is because he plays in the Premier League, and the other one plays in the La Liga. So I think they're very even, but Premier League's better. So,
and I think that the way that it's Benzema and Salah.
Yeah, it's Benzema and Salah. Yeah.
I think the reason that Salah takes it as well is because the manner he's gone about it. Do you know what I mean? Benzema's scoring goals, but like those 2 Salah goals, those 2 weeks, Man City and Watford, people will be like watching them in like Spain and going like, oh my God, do you know what I mean? Like we used to have players do that in our league, like Messi and Ronaldo used to do that, and now what else is doing it in England? Do you know what I mean?
In England.
In England. I mean, I was halfway between English league and England. I mean, Benzema's a phenomenal striker. Classic 9, I think you'd call him, in terms of the hold up play, but he's quite like silky. Because he's actually really silky if you watch him play. I mean, when they played us last year in the Champions League, he was really good in terms of like his hold up play, beating a man. We did play Nat Phillips in that game, and I can't remember who played alongside him. I might have to find that now. Just fill some time while I find out who played in that game.
I'll talk about him. I'll start with Benzema because he's number 2. I mean, the same kind of story, but for Vinicius Junior, but times by 10. Like he's as with Salah, he's the top goal scorer and assister in the league. And I know that this is in form, but he's just been so consistent for years as well.
It's undeniable he is now in form as well, as in like.
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Because the thing is, there's a difference between like consistent and in form, in my opinion. Like, and right now Salah is in. I mean, Salah kind of goal drought, 3 games without a goal, which is quite long for him. But God. I'm really scared I said that. It's going to like jinx him now. But Benzema's really, really, really good. Yeah. I can't really say much else. We've kind of.
It's just difficult. It's difficult to picture Real Madrid without Benzema, and to say that about a club like that is, it's a statement.
Yeah, so. and but the thing is, I think with him, right now he would go anywhere and score goals as well. He would probably be a real asset to a team like United at the moment in terms of when you get the ball in the box, it's a lot calmer. And I know that you've got Ronaldo in the box, but it still feels quite erratic with Ronaldo. Do you know what I mean? He still feels quite like, for audio listeners, I did like some weird like dolphin head movements. But yeah. I think there we go.
I just think it's impossible to put any other 2 in there.
Yeah, I think it is as well. Do we dare make a top 5 in the world right now off the cuff?
Well, I think it's quite easy because Salah and Benzema have to go at the top.
Yeah, so we go Salah number 1, Benzema number 2.
And then it has to be Foden.
I was going to say, I think it'd be Phil Foden, yeah.
And then you've only got to do 2 more. I think Trent's one of them.
Trent, and I mean, if we're going based off my list, it's going to be Cancelo. But I'm joking.
Well, do you know? I think I think you're more than you'd be more than entitled to argue Cancelo could be that up there.
Reece James is definitely within with a shout.
Yeah, I think
it'd have to be Trent and Cancelo then, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Based on performances recently in the last 3 months, especially since the season started, they've both been kind of electric. So
I think Salah, Benzema, Foden, Trent, Cancelo.
Yeah, there we go.
A 5-a-side team without a goalkeeper, by the way.
Not bad. Just Mendy in goal.
Yeah, true.
6-a-side. There we go. We will finish this with, obviously that is not who we believe will win the Ballon d'Or.
No.
Who we believe will be the Ballon d'Or is a different story completely, but that's just who we think is informed. These are players that are definitely going to be in and around this conversation next year if they keep it up. Reece James, I think, is having a lot of luck with recency bias because I think he scored and assisted about 5 goals in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But he is still a phenomenal fullback, so please don't take that out of context if you're a
because he's on fire. He's in form. So
there we go. He's got a little black eye on FIFA, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And Cuckoo is never making my top striker list.
No.
So I mean, he's just in form. He's just playing well.
There we go. There's our top 5.
Plus Messi will win the Ballon d'Or.
Yeah, he should be.
It's Messi, isn't it? So
yeah. But there we go. That's our special episode for the international breakdown. We may do another one next week because there's no football to talk about. So we may do 2 this week, which will be fun.
Spooky.
But there we go. Thank you very much for listening again. Like, comment and subscribe. Share it around. Help us get to 25 subs before Christmas. I'm really, really upset if I don't hit 25 subs now. I've really got it in my head that I will have it.
Is this episode 9?
10.
Oh my God, this is actually
it's episode 10 as well.
We actually made it.
That's good.
Oh my God.
So what it would be about 15 episodes, 16 episodes time, it will be Christmas. So let's hope we're at 25 by then. But thank you very much for listening. Jamie, again, thank you so much for joining me. That was a very good chat, actually. I very much enjoyed it.
I think it was. As much as it was a bit of a shambles in terms of like forgetting that people exist. It was quite fun. I enjoyed that.
It always happens though, doesn't it? Like we're not professionals. We don't have, if we had like databases, we'd have definitely had a more comprehensive list and been able to argue it instead of going, they look really nice when they we'd
also have had the same list. So
yeah, we would have. But I mean, it's fun. It's that sort of thing. We'll put out another poll about what you would like us to do next week. We might have to do something a bit different, but we'll wait and see. Anyway, thank you very much, Jamie. That was very good to speak to you.
Cheers.
And I will speak to you guys soon. See ya.
Cheers.